Życzymy Państwu przyjemnej podróży.
Still okay. Early afternoon. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to welcome you. At our talk at the very beginning, it's supposed to be the panel discussion, but finally we have our guest just. We have all your time, in fact, and that's pretty good because since we're here at the Freedom Games and we're introducing the topic of city, future, and Europe, you're the perfect match. So please welcome with me, Mr. Liviu Jicman, right now the president of the Romanian Cultural Institute, who just not so long ago taken a presidency of EUNIC. So the global network of European Union's cultural institutes and the principal cultural diplomacy arm of Europe in the world. Wow, that sounds impressive, and I really would like you to introduce the institution because some of us is aware of its activities, but I think that for some people it might be just a very, very new and interesting discovery.
Yes, thank you first of all for this invitation. I'm very glad to have this honor to be in this panel and to have this discussion with you. But first of all, I'm very happy to be at Freedom Games because I think it's a very, very interesting program, and what you succeed here to have so many ideas and people discussing. I think it's very important, and to have such wonderful audience is very important. A few words first about the Romanian Cultural Institute, who is the institution that is in charge with cultural diplomacy in Romania and with promoting Romanian culture abroad. And in this capacity, we are one of the members of this network, European Union National Institutes for Culture. We are a member since the year when Romania joined the European Union, so since 2007. And the network includes also other cultural institutes, but also other organizations in the state members, also Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, other similar organizations, and I must mention also partner organizations, like is the case for the British Council after the UK left the European Union, and I think very important, and it's a signal that we offer to at the European and international level. Also, we have a partner member in the Ukrainian Institute since 2022, if I'm not wrong. I know for a couple of years this network, and it's important that we grow. We now have 39 organization members from the European Union. And more important than this is that we have 194 clusters in the world. So it's a very decentralized organization. One of the main topic of this reunion is the city, and actually EUNIC is organized. The clusters in the world are organized in cities. especially more than in countries. In every city where are at least three members, three branches of these 39 organization members, we can organize a cluster. So we have a global perspective, and I think this is the key strength of this organization. Of course, that we start not only offering the own agenda for each organization members, but we offer a complete decentralization and autonomy for each cluster. So in each cluster, like in Warsaw and everywhere in the world, they decide what is the cultural program, the partnerships, the resources that they put together for European projects, European cultural projects, and the ideas that they put together. And from my perspective, at least in the European Union framework, it's not only about working together to have common projects, but facilitating common partnerships, co-production, and so on. So this is EUNIC in a few words, and of course one of our main interest is in being the most important organization that is in charge with European Union cultural relations in the world.
Yeah, when I was reading about EUNIC, preparing myself to this talk, I found some really important information about what you focused on. And first was that it is based on the principles of cultural relation, mutual listening and learning. And this dialogue is something particularly important for me, especially when we see the European diversity, and not only European diversity. This is first. So the part of it is also dialogue with the others, co-creation and joint capacity building. I would like to go with you through those four, I would say, milestones of the organization. So starting from this dialogue, is it really okay? When I look sometimes, even in Poland, between cities, from time to time we are able to cooperate, but on the other sectors we're just like screaming to each other from separate mountains, and we are not able to understand each other. So from your point of view, when you started to be in charge of this cooperation, so dialogue and diversity, this is my first question in Europe and in the cities, of course.
Yes, like I said, we have many strengths in this organization, but also some challenges, starting from the diversity of European Union and of Europe from the cultural point of view. Of course, this is one element, maybe the first, that defines European culture, the diversity. But in my opinion, we should go further, not only speak all over the world that we are diverse and that we don't have a common cultural elements, because it's not true. We have many common roots in Europe, and we have many permanent, I don't know how to say, cultural exchanges in our languages, in our social life, and so on. And I think not only because it's the theme of our discussion today, but I think that one of the key points that could be a definition for the European culture is exactly this soft power. because we should understand the culture of a tool for soft power, and I think if we will do a comparison with other global actors, maybe European Union could offer the best model, because soft power is a tool that can offer a state or confederation, so to say, this mechanism to influence decisions globally. But I think that the key element to for the soft power to work from cultural point of view is freedom of expression, freedom of creativity, and I think nowhere in the world this point cannot be offered better than in Europe. Of course, that also here we can discuss about the limits and about what we should do to improve it. But I think this could be a key element that we should present all over the world as a model, not only as an element that defines Europe.
Exactly, the soft power was underlined as a flagship project of EUNIC, and I'm sorry. So working together to okay, I don't want to say to just to protect the values, but to extend the values, to spread the values and our understanding what. I have to say what the freedom is, because since you mentioned the very, very basic human freedoms that the fathers of the European Union underline in the documents establishing the first European community society, and all the values and all the freedoms that we have in the later documents of the European Union, including, of course, the freedom of speech, the freedom of creativity, the freedom of media that we know is endangered in some of the European countries. Poland just went through the very, very, I would say, difficult period with the freedom of our media. And as we know, the freedom of media is one of the, I used to call it the democratic table. I used to call the liberal democracy, I describe it to my students as a table with 4 legs. And one leg is freedom of elections, the second is the rule of law, the third is a freedom of education, but the freedom of culture, freedom of media is the 4th one. And then we put all other freedoms on this table. If any of those 4 just cut down, everything will just go down and will in fact vanish, or maybe not vanish, but well, we will have to try to catch whatever we have. So my question is about these freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of media, and the way the Institute supported, because in the documents I also read that you work with non-democratic countries and the regimes that are, I would say, that turn into an authoritarian way.
It's not a goal for EUNIC. The goal is to promote our values, our common values, and like I said, and of course I can speak from the EUNIC perspective, but I will share also some personal opinions. From my perspective, it's important to find these common elements from cultural point of view at the European Union level, and not to I don't know how to say, not to abolish the cultural heritage and cultural elements specific for each country, but to find what we decide to be the common cultural values. And I think freedom should be one of these, and also the freedom of expression and the freedom of press. And we should not only from our perspective as organization, but I think it could be a topic at European level, to have common in the future to have common principles, if not regulation, regarding freedom of press. Coming back to EUNIC action, we try to be present all over the world, and that doesn't, if it's an authoritarian regime or a democratic regime, I think we promote the same ideas of partnership, of dialogue, of freedom of expression, and I think our presence, our common presence, is maybe more important, but also more difficult, especially in countries where it's a lack of freedom of expression or of human rights and so on. On the other hand, this is an idea that I shared with my colleagues from the Romanian Cultural Institute, where when we worked the perspective of our actual strategy 2022-2026, and I shared with them the idea that it's important, the partnerships, the programs that we work together in the EUNIC network, to be present in this network. But the next step is not only to organize common projects, but to share in all our projects the common agenda at European level. So maybe we have 10%, 20%, I don't know, of projects that are cooperation under EUNIC umbrella, or just partnerships between institutes. And maybe I should mention a few words about our Romanian-Polish cultural season that we organize in this period. But
this will be next step.
Yes. But it's not only this, it's not only working together in some projects, but having in all our activity this common perspective. I think it's important.
Yeah, because it just came back to me that culture is the best ambassador of values, and this is exactly what you do.
Yes, I think it's a chance. It's also, from my perspective, a very interesting and beautiful profession, this work as a cultural diplomat. But also, I think it's very important to know how to use the creativity from each country, from our diverse society that we have also in Romania, also in Poland, and all over Europe, to not only present, I don't know, the best creation, but to talk about our society, to know better and to understand each other better.
Okay, definitely. I would like to make a step back for a moment to the soft power, because you're probably aware of I'm sure you're aware of the global research conducted by Brand Finance. This year it was published, I think, in the very end of the 29th of February, beautiful date, 2024. The fifth global research by Brand Finance, for the first time conducted in 193 countries, member states of the United Nations. And according to this, to the last report, the US is best in a soft power. And just to remind you that the soft power is an impact that we as a countries, but also we as an institution, we could have on other, not using the regular power to war or to I didn't want to through finances, but exactly through that it includes the cultural impact. So we have the US, Great Britain are the most influential soft-powered nations according to this report. Then goes China, Japan, and Germany. And here we have the perception of the national brands. So I would like to ask you how to build, from EUNIC perspective, the European Union of a cultural brand. I know it's not easy, but
For sure, it's not an easy question, and I think we have also at our level different approaches. This is for sure, and also all our union are based on the I don't know how to say dialogue and changing ideas, not deciding where should we go only by voting with a majority, because it's a common project, it's a partnership. Also, my job for 1 year as president is only from this perspective of representing all our partners. But again, from my perspective, it's important to identify this kind of tools that could present us from a clear perspective all over the world. I think, of course, this factor is influenced from all the elements that presents a country abroad, from sports, from culture, from politics. Of course, we could have also a dictator that is well known in the world than a representative of a democratic regime. But at the end, it's important, and like I said, it's important to have freedom of expression to offer the power to all the actors, to all the professionals from culture, from sports, from society, to be present on the global stage, not on only at the national stage. And to have some elements that we define together as being representative at the European level. I think we should work better on this perspective. I think we still prefer the national elements from cultural point of view to present ourselves abroad. I think also it's something natural, because also from any country perspective, we have a lot of bilateral interaction with at the global level. But I think the way where we're going is this, and I think Europe is a wonderful space. If we look at each country, or at least looking at Romania, I think the best cities from cultural point of view, the cities that also had experience of cultural capital, for European cultural capitals, for example, like Sibiu, like Timișoara, but also others that are very interesting from a cultural point of view, from someone who's visiting Romania from outside, have this common element of diversity. We have many minorities that are living together, and that keep their own traditions and culture in Sibiu, in Timișoara, in east of Romania, at the Donau Delta, in Tulcea, in Suceava, and so on. Cities that are very important from cultural point of view in Romania, but that are also very important from this diversity perspective. So I think this is Europe, and this is what we should speak about.
I'm smiling because you reminded me of something I was really proud of, because I was proud of Krakow when it was a capital of culture in 2000. And for me, as a very young student those days, it was absolutely opening experience. We wasn't a member of the European Union yet those days. And for students, for my colleagues, but also for the city, it was, even if Krakow is well recognized capital of culture, but still we saw those days the broader understanding. We get a broader understanding of culture. I mean, in terms of the definition, when the culture means not only this. Cultural industry, but also institutions that we build around culture, and what you mentioned, so the relation between cities, between citizens also, and all the bilateral relation you already mentioned. So here it comes. I would like to ask you about exactly this relation you mentioned about Poland-Romanian cooperation on this field.
Thank you very much. I will answer this, but I forgot to mention something, and I want to come back. It's again a personal opinion, but I think it's important. You mentioned the US and this comparison with the European Union. I think that an element that is specific and that is different between Europe and the United States is that on one hand we have very large freedom of expression at the cultural level, but on the other hand, sometimes, and again it's a personal opinion, sometimes I see a very different approach when we speak about diplomacy and cultural diplomacy, and when we speak about culture. Many professionals are saying culture is something very different than propaganda, and it's true. But I think culture is very connected of the reality of the society. So when this freedom of expression is connected and the artistic act is connected of the reality of a society, I think also the cultural product will be more interesting for everybody from that country and abroad. I think maybe US is better from this perspective. If we think to Hollywood and other cultural instrument, and we should Romania experience one of the worst cases of propaganda regime during the Ceausescu regime, but maybe this bad experience should not influence our perspective, separating completely the cultural act from the life of the society. Coming back to the bilateral cooperation and the cultural season, I think it's very important, and I'm very glad that we have this chance to have, honestly speaking, a very good bilateral cooperation. And from our perspective, at least, it's a first kind of experience from this kind. We participate in the important programs, we participate in cultural season, but it's the first time when we have a bilateral season that is happening in both countries on one hand, and on the other hand that is designed by us to be specific for this year, actually until October next year, and I think it's a chance to have also this kind of collaboration, not only to present both countries and our culture in both countries, and I must underline that also from the Polish part and also from our part, I think we had the chance to be present in all over the country. Here in Łódź, yesterday in Wrocław, in Warsaw, in Krakow, in Białystok, in Gdańsk, in many cities. Also is the case from the Polish season to be present in the many important festivals in Romania, in Sibiu, in Iași, in Timișoara, in Bucharest, and in Craiova and in other cities. But I think it's important also that we have the opportunity to work together. I will give the example of this production that one of the most important lady directors in Romania, Janina Carbonariu, worked here with Polish theater. And now is presented this Polish production is invited in the most important festival, international theater festival in Romania, and theater play is about this again an important theme in my opinion, this decree that functioned in Romania for many years that interdict abortion and that sent a woman that did this in prison during the communist regime. So I think that if we will succeed after this 1.5 year to continue and to have common projects, co-creation, co-production, collaboration, not only between the Romanian Cultural Institute and the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Culture in Poland and Adam Mickiewicz Institute and Polish Institute, but directly between professionals, between cultural organization in Romania will be very, very important.
It's really not. Okay, it's really funny because you remind me a lot of things that I experience working with culture and working with different cultural institutions. And the project you mentioned about abortion, I know the project, and I'm also aware of the situation in the Ceausescu times in Romania. Just to share with you something very private, my very best friend is Romanian, and both her parents are gynecologists in Romania. So I heard a lot of stories from them being in Romania. Exactly in the same time when we're going through the discussion in Poland. But also when you talk about cooperation of the institutions, some time ago in one of the Polish Krakow's institution, Villa Decius, they started a project about educating young leaders, but also people from smaller cities to make them able to build a network, to go much deeper into cultural diplomacy, but also to educate them how to build a relation with first their own citizens in their cities, and then how to cross the borders and how to promote this culture. And I believe we have, for years, we had a lot on a very, very high level. But right now, since I think 10 years, and pandemic interrupted the pandemic interrupted this process. We are going many steps down to promote smaller cities, less known museums, less known cultural activities. And I can see, also thanks to my students, and I have students from many European countries, then they understand first the need, but that they understand and they would like to learn how to use the soft power as a tool of spreading the values, but also starting a dialogue on a very, very different level in this Europe that, is going through a lot of changes right now.
Yes, like I said, I think we should, and I speak at least from the Romanian Cultural Institute's perspective, we should have a different approach. It's one thing when we are organizing something, a Romanian festival in a country and another continent, when this element to promote Romania, to find a part that is relevant from the Romanian culture is the key point. And I think that something different should be here in Europe, and also especially maybe in the Central and Eastern Europe. Also, our network was built in first years from this perspective of joining the European Union, NATO, and so on. And maybe the focus were not so important at the regional and at the regional level. Our bilateral relation, Romania and Poland, is a strong one, not from now, but also from our history. But maybe I think it's a lack of focus from not only from our perspective, but from many Eastern and Central European countries at the regional level, because we have this focus to the West. Western countries. And on the other hand, again, about this kind of bilateral cooperation, about this season, for example, I think it's important when we have this opportunity. Of course, we think about our best products, our best representatives, best writers, best exhibition that we can present in another country. But after this season, I wish to find solutions, mechanisms, tools for this kind of cooperation, to encourage young people, young artists to work together, to offer tools for this new cooperation, and especially for a new generation of artists.
Yeah, I'm just looking if we have here the director of the Villadesius Institute, but I think she's not here because it was exactly Villadesius project, and I was really happy because I wrote that project for Creative Europe, and they won the grant. So the work is it's the work in progress. But we also talk in our exchange, email exchange before this meeting. You mentioned the future of Europe and how to see the future of Europe through our cities, but also through our cities, European cities that went through a lot during the war, and how they rebuilt, and how they rebuilt their identity, and how they had to create, I believe, the openness. And it is also a lesson for us, I think, for today. And the lesson for Ukraine in the future.
Yes, I think the cities are a key point also from our perspective in the future. We discuss in many panels here the theme of liberalism and liberal ideas that built the European societies, and these ideas of freedom are born in cities. Then we have authoritarian regime. We had communist regime. Now in this year we celebrate 35 years after after the fall of these regimes. And the revolutions in many countries like Romania started from cities like Timișoara, like Bucharest, but also like Prague, like Berlin, and so on. Now we speak about the future. I don't know the future, but I think, and we discuss, and I think it's a cultural theme that we should underline in our activities. We should speak about the cities of the future of the cities. And I mentioned in our discussion before this dialogue that I found it very interesting. For example, a project of our team, the Romanian Pavilion in the Architecture Biennale, and now with the occasion of my presence here, I invited the authors of the projects to rebuild only this part, only a section of this project of the Romanian Pavilion, the part where they enter in the dialogue with the public and asking to leave a note or a draw about the city of future. They gather together, I don't remember, I think 14,000 messages. And I think that the future, it's about local dialogue, about local ideas, and maybe I say something that is already heard very often, that we should do locally and globally. Less national, but more local and more global.
I think it's really important what you said about this cooperation on the local but also global level, and this is exactly what that project I mentioned was doing and is doing. When I see people in the cities and private remark, I work on the ethics of war, but I also work on something we call the ethics of government. And one part of it is to discuss, for example, the ethical budget of the state or of the city. And it's much easier to design the ethical budget of the city because partly it should follow the values represented by the citizens. And my students, oh God, it's already 7 years, each year they read the projects in Krakow, in Warsaw, but also in a few other smaller cities of Poland. And they examine it, they make research, checking what kind of values are represented there. And of course, after the communist era, because they went much deeper also, they do it regular in the last 7 years, it was very, very basic values, I would say, and very, very basic needs. Right now, we're going higher and higher in this pyramid, and the culture and the culture cooperation, cultural integration became a really visible need in local communities. But they would like to, and this is exactly what you said, to cross the border, not only to cooperate on the very on national level, but get to know more about the others, maybe also because they observe the others coming to their communities.
Yes, and I think it's also about resources. I will speak about the Romanian case, but I think it's the case also from other countries. We had this process of decentralization that is not finished, and there are many discussions about it, but still it's something different if we look today and we look back 20 years ago, for example. And now a lot of resources are at the local level. And I think it's natural to be so, and not to be someone at the national level who decide what cultural product we should encourage and what not. Although from my personal perspective, in this position, I feel this tension of lack of resources at the national level. But coming back, I think the resources are at the local level, and our goal and our focus should be on democratizing the decision at the local level, because the resources are already there. At the national level, we have money for, I don't know, like you mentioned, social programs.
For example, we have something we call the citizens' budget too.
Okay. I don't know, I must confess, I don't know how it works, but the idea sounds great.
There is a certain amount of money, and the citizens and some NGOs, but also individual citizens can prepare a project, and then co-citizens vote for what project will get funding. And we see more and more cultural projects exactly on this field.
Yes, I think it's a important debate also in Romania. Of course, we started from only a public cultural sector after the communist. Then, now it's a very young and vivid private cultural sector, independent cultural sector. But of course, it depends also on the public budgets. But still, being in the public sector or being in the independent sector, I think you should connect to the needs of public, not going in a commercial perspective, but still going on the needs of public, not only on receive money for what you want to do.
Because we could get into absurdity this way, unfortunately. Okay, can I see any questions from you? Questions. I have problem if... Yes, please, the lady here. Please, there will be a microphone, and I would like to... Please introduce yourself, okay, for the recording.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Reynolds. I actually have a question about the citizens' budget, if that's okay. This is the first time hearing of it, too. How often...
For me. But we can...
That is for you, I'm sorry. How often do people vote on the projects? And is it city by city, or is it at the national level?
It's not on a national level, it's on a local level. It's a part of, since you mentioned decentralization, and I think it's a really important part of it, that first, from our national budget, there are some resources delegated to the cities, to the capitals, but also to the smaller cities. And then once a year, in some cities it's twice a year, on let's say this event, for example, in Krakow, you can have such projects on a district level, then on a city level, and then on a state level. And we go through the and people can just come for a visit to the district council, show the project. If the project would go through the first procedure, will go through the whole first step of the procedure, very bureaucratic one. People can vote on it, and then we have like 5 to 7 projects each year. For example, in my district, that can get some funding, get full funding, in fact. And I think it's a really, really great step in citizens' engagement in a local community, in developing local community, developing local culture and local democracy, and here also to build a civil society that is so important for us right now. Questions?
You talk about cultural. Sorry, my name's David Sarek. You talk about cultural values, but I didn't hear anything about narratives, the stories people tell, and how the narratives shape. Now we're in a world of social media, and local medias can be easily manipulated by certain very good storytellers. What is the risk that this soft power can be abused?
I think it's a very good question. Of course, we have this risk. I think we should develop tools, not only through our actions. I'm thinking at the cultural institutes, but from at the society level, to defend ourselves against this kind of actions. But I think that first of all we should encourage and have mechanisms like this one that you mentioned to stimulate and to encourage and to empower the good initiatives. There are a lot of good initiatives, but that are missing promotion, communication, and I think it's our job to find ways to communicate better about these things. For example, now a focus from our perspective as European organization, not only from our perspective as Cultural Institute, is the things happening in Ukraine and in Republic of Moldova, and we try to be part of this, to be part of the solution, and not to avoid these issues, to sustain the cultural initiatives in Ukraine. It was only the first step that the Ukrainian Institute joined the EUNIC as partner organization, but we trying to develop programs in this field. Also, we're trying to encourage and to partnership with Republic of Moldova, and especially with the European presence of professionals from Republic of Moldova at the European in Europe, not only in their country, to promote such models. And I think that we should do more and to do this better, and to succeed to invest more than others invest in promoting false narratives.
Thank you. I'm just anyone else? If not, I will have a very, very last question, because I'm really curious about the project you mentioned. So this the future. I'm really sorry. The city of future. From one of your point of view, because you mentioned a few things, but what could be the most powerful face of such a city of future, in the terms of course, of the soft power?
I think exactly this, the involvement of the civic society.
Mm-hmm.
The involvement of civic society who will feel that is a part of the city, the artists who feel that are part of the city, and that could create and present their creation abroad, also speaking about their native city, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is, from my point of view, it is the most important part of the soft power, our ability to promote culture and to exactly use it, as we said at the very beginning, to use culture as an ambassador of values. And so we are about to start the season. So,
Thank you.
I'm waiting for the events of this season, and I would like to thank you for today's talk.
Thank you very
for
much.
coming. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And for all of you, thank you for coming, and please stay with us. And I think it's right now not a duty, but I hope we encourage you at least a bit. You who are watching us here, but also through the video, to follow the events of the season.
I think a powerful tool for soft power and for the cultural diplomacy is exactly what you're doing here. And maybe if we will promote a kind of program of dialogues, not in Europe, but all over the world, under the umbrella of Europe, it will be a very good idea in the future.
Thank you. That's a great potential for me. So thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us. And I hope to see you at the next Freedom Games too.
I hope to be here, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
plany biznesowe powstają z marzeń. Dlatego nie ma dwóch takich samych firm. Jedni chcą działać na całym świecie. Innym cały świat mieści się w dłoni. Sukces biznesu to nie tylko jego wielkość, ale też szczęście, jakie przynosi ludziom. PKO Bank Polski.
Radość, nadzieja, życie, wyzwanie, pasja, pamięć, zaufanie, pokój, jedność. Słowa tworzą świat. Polskie Radio. Źródło wiarygodnych informacji.
Uwielbiam szycie w sieci. Wczoraj podszyłem się pod wnuczka, wieczorem uszyłem intrygę na apce randkowej, a dziś planuję grubymi nićmi szyte oszustwo z promocją. Tak się szyje.
Na oszustów są sposoby. Zapoznaj się z poradami ekspertów na niedajsiepodszyć.pl.
Polskie Radio.
Jedynka.
It's not always easy to recognize. It may look like this, or like this. It may be a burden, but it is a responsibility that we embrace nonetheless. But if it means this for one person and this for someone else, maybe it ultimately means being there for one another. It isn't handed to us, but we know where to find it. And how it feels, how it tastes, and what it sounds like when we finally have it. It means different things to different people, but for many, it means everything. And if we all fight for it, it will eventually bring us together.
Ihre Ausreise
Rodzina spółek Pelion to 12 000 osób pracujących w ponad 300 spółkach w Polsce, Szwecji, Wielkiej Brytanii i na Litwie. Jesteśmy liderem w branży ochrony zdrowia. Od 1990 roku dbamy o długość i jakość życia. Pracować z nami możesz w jednym z 7 obszarów.
Czy wytrzymasz klockowe tortury? Ze stoickim spokojem. Czy w twardych negocjacjach zachowasz zimną krew? Czy poddasz się dobrowolnej eksmisji ze swojego łóżka? Brawo! Test na obecność serca zaliczony. To znaczy, że ty też możesz być rodzicem zastępczym. Dowiedz się jak na testserca.pl.
Jedzą kanapki z kawiorem.
Nadzwyczajna kasa.
Obrażanie dziennikarzy telewizji polskiej.
Chodzi o działania polityczne.
Przygotowanie ofiar dla pedofilów.
Für Deutschland.
TVP Info. Włącz się na nowo.
Zapraszamy do Trójki. Od nowa.
Trójka. Program Trzeci Polskiego Radia.